Two cars, a combined value of over 8 million pounds. Two of the rarest, most extreme, most jaw-dropping machines ever put on four wheels. And today, we're going to find out which one is truly king. One of them is Italian, hand-built. A screaming, naturally aspirated V12 that sounds like God himself clearing his throat. The other, also Italian, also hand-built, twin turbocharged. So much torque, it could probably rip the tarmac clean off the road. This isn't just a drag race, this is a statement. This is what happens when two of the world's greatest automakers go absolutely all in. No compromises, no limits, no mercy. Welcome back to Luxury and Scale. If you're new here, buckle up, because this is the kind of video that reminds you why we do this. Let's set the scene. On one side, we have the Ferrari Daytona SP3. This is Ferrari's love letter to the past, a tribute to the legendary 1967 Daytona race where Ferraris finished 1, 2, 3. It's part of the Icona series, which means it's not just a car, it's a rolling piece of art. Ferrari built just 599 of them worldwide. If you even have to ask the price, the answer is probably going to hurt. We're talking well over 4 million pounds. On the other side, the Pagani Huayra Roadster BC. Pagani, the little Italian manufacturer that, quite frankly, shouldn't be able to compete with the giants of the automotive world. But somehow, every single time, they do. The Roadster BC is open-top, brutally fast, and made with such obsessive craftsmanship that every single bolt is a work of art. Also north of 4 million pounds, also extraordinarily rare. These two cars don't belong on a normal road. They belong in a museum, on a racetrack, or in the dreams of every petrolhead on the planet. But today, we've brought them both here, to find out which one really has the edge. First, let's just stand back and drink these in. Because honestly, looking at these two cars side by side is an experience in itself. The Ferrari Daytona SP3 looks like it came from another dimension. It's got this sweeping, long bonnet silhouette that pulls directly from Ferrari's racing heritage of the late 1960s. The bodywork flows like water. Every curve has a purpose. Every crease is deliberate. Those flying buttresses at the rear? Iconic. The exposed engine cover that lets you peek at that glorious V12? Almost inappropriately beautiful. The front end is dramatic without being aggressive. Slim, sharp headlights slice across the nose. The vents and intakes aren't just for show. This car breathes, genuinely breathes, like a living thing. And the stance, low, wide, planted, tells you everything you need to know before you've even heard the engine. Now, look at the Pagani. The Huayra Roadster BC is something else entirely. Where the Ferrari is elegant and classical, the Pagani is almost alien. Every panel is made from a special carbon titanium composite called carbotanium, developed exclusively by Pagani. The bodywork is so detailed, so intricate, that you could spend an hour just looking at the surface textures. The quad exhaust pipes at the rear exit from the center of the car like a sculpture. The active aerodynamic flaps, 4 of them, move independently to manage downforce at every corner. The wheels? Multi-spoke forged magnesium, beautifully excessive. If the Ferrari is a supermodel, composed, effortlessly graceful, then the Pagani is a Formula One car that somehow learned to walk on the street. Both stunning, utterly different. Step inside the Ferrari Daytona SP3 and you are immediately transported. The cockpit is snug, deliberately so. Ferrari wanted you to feel connected, cosseted, part of the machine. The cabin wraps around you like a race suit. The materials are exquisite. Hand-stitched leather in rich, warm tones. Carbon fiber everywhere your eye lands. The steering wheel sits perfectly in your hands. Large paddle shifters right where your fingers naturally fall. The dashboard is clean, almost minimalist by modern standards, but that's entirely intentional. Ferrari didn't want screens and distractions. They wanted you focused on one thing, the drive. There's a small digital display for your speed and vitals, and that's really all you need. The engine note filling the cabin is your entertainment system. The vibration through the seat is your sound system. You don't come to a car like this looking for a touchscreen. The Pagani, though, the Pagani is a completely different experience. Horacio Pagani is a watchmaker at heart, and the interior of the Huayra Roadster BC is proof of that. Every single switch, every single dial, every single button is hand-machined from aerospace-grade aluminium. Some are titanium. The attention to detail is, genuinely, borderline insane. You've got an analog gauge cluster that looks like it belongs in a vintage aircraft. Beautiful, circular, perfectly lit. The seats are sculpted carbon fiber buckets with leather inserts, supportive, aggressive, and somehow still comfortable. And being a roadster, when you drop that top, you're exposed to the world in the most spectacular way imaginable. Both cabins feel special, both feel priceless. The Ferrari wraps you in warmth and heritage. The Pagani surrounds you in precision and obsession. Choosing between them is less about which is better and more about which philosophy speaks to your soul. Right? Let's talk about the stuff that really matters. The Ferrari Daytona SP3 is powered by a 6.5-liter naturally aspirated V12. No turbos, no electrification, no assistance. Just pure, raw combustion. It produces 840 horsepower and 697 Newton-meters of torque. Power goes to the rear wheels through a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic gearbox. It weighs around 1,600 kilograms, and it completed the standing quarter mile in 10.6 seconds. But you know, numbers don't tell the whole story with this engine. What they don't capture is the sound. There is nothing on earth that sounds quite like a Ferrari 512 at full chat. It starts as a low, chest-thumping growl and builds to a metallic, symphonic scream that doesn't just fill your ears, it fills your entire body. It is, without any exaggeration, one of the greatest sounds in the history of automotive engineering. The Pagani Huayra Roadster BC takes a different approach. It uses a 6-liter twin-turbocharged V12 built by Mercedes-AMG. It produces 802 horsepower, slightly less than the Ferrari on paper, but here's the number that changes everything: 1,500 Newton-meters of torque. Yes, 1,500. That is not a typo. To put that in context, a Bugatti Chiron produces around 1,600. The Pagani is operating in a completely different universe when it comes to twist. It drives through a 7-speed automated manual gearbox to the rear wheels. And it weighs significantly less, around 1,350 kilograms. That's 250 kilograms lighter than the Ferrari. In the world of performance cars, that is an enormous advantage. In our standing quarter-mile test, the Pagani struggled a little. Cold tires robbed it of traction off the line, and it crossed in 11.2 seconds to the Ferrari's 10.6. But in the rolling race, once it had heat in those tires, the Pagani was absolutely devastating. That torque, that monstrous turbocharged wall of torque, made it all but unstoppable once it was rolling. Both cars have launch control. Both cars will rearrange your internal organs on acceleration, and both will make you feel like the luckiest person alive every single time you press the throttle. Ferrari Daytona SP3, the strengths. The naturally aspirated V12 is a masterpiece, an engine that may never be made again given tightening emissions regulations worldwide. The heritage and the story are unmatched. The design is timeless and will still be talked about in 50 years. The dual-clutch gearbox delivers razor-sharp shifts that gave it the edge off the line. And Ferrari's overall build quality is world-class. Ferrari Daytona SP3, the weaknesses. It's heavier than the Pagani, and you feel it in direction changes. The interior, while beautiful, is less extravagant than what Pagani offers at a similar price point. And if you believe turbos and electrification represent the future, this car's philosophy might feel deliberately old-fashioned, even if the execution is perfection. Pagani Huayra Roadster BC, the strengths. The interior craftsmanship is genuinely unrivaled. No other production car on the planet offers this level of handmade detail. The weight advantage is significant and you feel it everywhere. That torque figure is stratospheric. The open-top experience at speed is transcendent. And the active aerodynamics are seriously sophisticated engineering. Pagani Huayra Roadster BC, the weaknesses. Cold tire behavior off the line costs it in standing start situations. That torque needs heat in the rubber to work. The automated manual gearbox, while characterful, isn't quite as fast as the Ferrari's dual clutch. The suspension is notably firm, brilliant on smooth tarmac, punishing on anything else. And good luck finding space for a weekend bag. The Ferrari Daytona SP3 is for the collector, the purist, the person who understands that this might be the very last pure, screaming, naturally aspirated V12 supercar Ferrari ever makes. You buy this car because you understand history, because you want something that will be studied and revered for generations, because you want the closest thing possible to a 1960s Ferrari racing car, but with air conditioning and a warranty. The Pagani Huayra Roadster BC is for the obsessive, the detail lover, the person who sits inside their car and stares at the dashboard for 20 minutes before they even start the engine. You buy a Pagani because you appreciate craft over commerce, because you know every bolt was touched by a human hand, because you want something completely, utterly, irreproducibly unique. Both cars require a certain type of buyer, someone with not just the financial means, but the emotional intelligence to appreciate what they're sitting in. These aren't commuter cars. These aren't status symbols. These are experiences, and the type of experience you're after will tell you exactly which one you belong in. So, Ferrari versus Pagani. Who wins? In the standing quarter mile, it was the Ferrari, 10.6 seconds to the Pagani's 11.2. In the rolling race, the Pagani made up ground fast and showed exactly why 1,500 Newton-meters of torque is a genuinely terrifying thing. In the braking test, the Ferrari stopped shorter, just half a car's length. But on cars like these, half a car's length is a lifetime. But here's the truth. Calling one of these cars a loser feels wrong. Both of them are staggering achievements. Both are proof that even in an era of electric vehicles and hybrid systems and driver assistance technology, there are still people out there making cars with absolute passion and zero compromise. The Ferrari Daytona SP3 is a symphony. The Pagani Huayra Roadster BC is a sculpture. Getting to experience both of them on the same day, on the same strip of tarmac, that's something that doesn't happen very often, and we won't forget it. Now, we want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Ferrari or Pagani? Which one calls to you? No wrong answers here, only passionate ones. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Luxury and Scale. We do this properly. We go deep. We bring you the cars that matter, tested the way they deserve to be tested. Hit the bell. Share this video with someone who needs reminding of why cars are the greatest things ever invented. We'll see you in the next one.